Welcome to our next live session from Seibert Media. I have a guest today, and it is, let me pull him up, it's Bo Wang. Hi, Bo.
Hi, Man.
Who are you working with, Bo?
I'm working for Customware Asia Pacific. We work in the consultation for integration and collaboration space.
Okay.
We've currently been investing more time into the R&D side of things to develop some products to help our customers.
Yeah, perfect. And one of these products we're going to see today, let me give the audience a short introduction. We're going to be talking about the JIRA Salesforce connector that is built by Customware. And Bo Wang will show us how it works, how to configure that, and hopefully be able to answer all the questions that you may have. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. There is a, as you can see here on the left side, there's a live support button that you can click. And if you do that and give me your email address and your question and click on Chat starten here, it will be prompted on my screen. Please don't click send email because I can't monitor my email while we're doing the live session. So click on Chat starten. And then I'll get the question, and I can chat with you while Bo is presenting, and I'll try to interrupt him whenever there is a possibility. Okay, let's see, look at the agenda that we prepared. Actually, Bo is going to decide when he's going to present what, but it's about naturally about JIRA and about Salesforce. We do think, or I don't know if you wanted to talk about what is JIRA and what is Salesforce, Bo, but I would imagine that we don't do that, right?
We'll have a small mention of what they do and what the main purposes are and who uses them, but we're not going to in-depth into what they actually offer.
Yeah, actually, I would also say that if you're watching this video or this live session, you'll probably be using both JIRA and Salesforce. That's why people most often want to have a connector. And so we're going to be talking about Salesforce and JIRA and linking issues and objects and all this stuff. We created a page. If you're going to the link that is on this page here, like or it's on the screen at the moment, seibert.biz/JIRA Salesforce connector in one word, you'll get both contact to Bo Wang to ask him more questions. You'll have more resources, and you can be able to see this video and some more information that we've put up here. So this would be a good starting point for you after the session to get even more information. And actually, Bo, I would suggest that you just start with your presentation, and I shall be quiet. Okay?
Okay.
Here you go.
Okay, I guess the first thing I'd like to do is introduce myself. I am currently the practice lead of research and development at Customware, and I'm actually the architect of the plugin that you're about to see. So the main motivation that went into building this plugin is because there's a lot of different teams within an organization. Each of them have their own focus. So as many of you would notice, a lot of the developers or technical side of people actually prefer JIRA as their main system that they track all of their tasks that they have to do. However, when it comes to the other side of things, for example, the support team and the sales team, they prefer other systems in some cases. So one of the more popular systems out there in the SaaS stack is Salesforce.com, which offers quite robust and quite feature-rich functionality for a lot of the users that people find useful. As such, you kind of get this segmentation between the user bases. So some people prefer one system, while some people will prefer the other system. However, you want them to also work together to be able to provide the customers with all of their support and information that they need. So let's take some of the most common examples that we face, even internally here at Customware. The first one will be, let's say, the pre-sales team. This is where the sales team actually works from Salesforce.com, because by definition and just by the name, Salesforce.com is actually a sales focused tool. As such, it's kind of more tailored for the sales team to be able to offer them all of the items that they need. However, it doesn't suit the technical team. So what we needed to do was to bridge the communication between the two. Because what actually happens is that opportunities come in, the sales team deal with it in Salesforce.com, and they have to replicate all of the information into JIRA to be able to get responses from the technical team, which is extremely inefficient. So part of our business goals is actually to make our customers more efficient. So to be able to achieve that, we want to minimize the amount of manual effort that people put in to be able to do these sorts of things, so that all of their efforts are put into the best use of their time. The second item which people will cover will be for the support team. So many of you who use Salesforce.com will be familiar with cases, which is where customers would raise support tasks where the support team will handle in Salesforce.com. However, when they get escalated, again, it comes in the manual process where they have to copy and paste the information from Salesforce.com into JIRA to get feedback from the technical team. So this connector is actually our solution, both internally and what we offer to customers, to kind of bridge the gap between the different teams so that we get alignment from the teams and better communication. So what this plugin actually does is actually allow you to share information from one system to the other, and it's all completely bi-directional. So I'll just run you through some of the cases which you can use this plugin. But before I start, is there any questions that you want to ask before?
Actually, before we started, we were talking about this shortly already. And you've been answered it, but we didn't record it, so I would want to pose this question again. There was a question about, I am using JIRA behind the firewall, and we're using Salesforce, which is a software as a service tool. Can I connect both systems nevertheless, or is that impossible?
Okay, that's actually a great question. We get that quite often, especially with newer customers, or people who are working in other government or enterprise environments where security is a very big concern. And the answer is, it's absolutely possible. If you can see from the screen right now, I'm highlighting my address bar. This is actually my local instance. So this is behind a firewall. So everything you see today inside this presentation is what you can achieve behind a firewall.
Okay, so what I would assume is that you have to tell JIRA you'll be able to connect to this and that IP address from the Salesforce server, so that could talk to each other, right?
Actually, that's not the case. We built it so that JIRA does 100% of the heavy lifting. So basically, as long as JIRA has the capability of accessing Salesforce.com, then all of the functionality works. Yeah,
okay. So the JIRA server has to have a web connection. If that is not the case, it's not going to be working, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay. But I think this is a feasible requirement or easy requirement. Yeah. Okay, let's start.
Okay, great. So I guess the first case I want to cover is the pre-sales team trying to, I guess, handle a brand new opportunity that comes in. So I'll switch from JIRA into Salesforce.com. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the Salesforce.com interface, but I chose the blue thing because I like blue. And I'll click on opportunities just to kind of give you a rough flow of how things will happen. So let's say the sales team gets a phone call from a customer or potential customer whom are looking for some new pieces of work. So I'll just create a new opportunity. Yeah, the contact owner is myself. The name is new opportunity from phone for Sam. Account name. I'm using a developer account, so there's already some sample data. These are all imaginary data, so take no notice of it. If you sign up for a developer account, you can actually get this information along with it by default. So you can actually sign up for an account and try out some of the features. We offer evaluation licenses for the Salesforce.com connector, so you can kind of play around with it before actually committing into it.
Okay.
Amount, $1 million.
Not too bad for Sam.
Probability, 75. Order number, random number. And this is a lot of money. Don't mess it up.
Okay.
Save. So, missed the stage. Prospecting. Save. So from the sales team, this is the first step they'll do. They'll enter the opportunity with the details into the Salesforce.com system. And this is usually what the point they'll need a bit more input to kind of say, are these requirements feasible? How much is it actually going to cost? Because the salesperson wouldn't know it's $1 million straight up. They'll need some way of justifying why it costs $1 million or whether it costs $1 million or not. So that kind of information will come from the technical team, and that's where JIRA comes into play. So as you can see, in addition to the 3 standard buttons that you see with Salesforce.com, there's a 4th one called Push to JIRA. I'll show you if we get time at the end to see how to configure this button. It's pretty simple. What this does is once you press it, you'll open up in the new tab, which allows you to select which JIRA projects to go into and which issue type to create it in. Once you press create, it actually takes all of the fields from the opportunity, translates it to a JIRA issue, and creates a new JIRA issue. So as you can see, this is a new JIRA issue that just been created. The description has come across from the opportunity, the subject has come across from the opportunity, same with the account, the lead source, the amount. So this kind of gives you some flexibility into just sharing information very, very quickly into the other system. And the great thing is, once you start editing things from this side, so let's say I want to update the description saying this is not appropriate. We'll get back to you soon. Okay, and I'll close this window and come back to Salesforce.com. As soon as I refresh it, it'll take a little while.
Actually, while we're waiting, maybe I can ask a question that was just posed. One is from someone asking, and the other is from me. What he was asking is there a mapping possible? I assume that he wants to make sure that a certain field comes into a certain other field from Salesforce to JIRA. Is that possible? And the next question is...
okay.
Okay. Why don't we go one by one? So it is possible?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. We actually spent the majority of our development time trying to make it as flexible and as configurable as possible. I'll show you the screens, which allows you to configure all of the mappings a bit later on in the presentation.
Okay.
But it's in terms of the structure, it's very similar to what you would expect from, let's say, custom field screens or issue type configurations.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah, perfect. And I assume my question will be very similar in an answer. You can configure custom fields in JIRA and map them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
we support every single custom field in JIRA with the exception of the cascading select.
Okay. So let's just move on.
Okay. So as you can see, the description actually came across from JIRA straight into Salesforce.com. Yeah, I didn't have to do anything extra on the JIRA side. I merely just updated the issue and the information comes across immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gives you the live communication between the two systems. Opportunity is actually not the best object to show this communication because it doesn't support comments. As such, I'll move to the next use case, which will be the support team raising or handling a case and pushing the case to JIRA. So I'll switch to the case view. Okay. I'll just pick some random data. Okay.
So this could be a support case or something.
Yeah. So someone will be coming across looking at, let's say, a set of instruction manual and saying page 4 is missing. So they're raising a case for this to the support team. So the support team will evaluate it, and if they're able to handle it, they'll handle it in Salesforce.com. But if they need technical input, let's say this one it needs technical input, they'll push it into the JIRA system where the technical team can come and help. So similar to what we did with Opportunity, there is an extra button which says push to JIRA. And similar with the workflow, you'll open up in a new window where you can select a project. And as you can see, the issue types available is actually different because this is a case, not an opportunity. That's actually configurable from the JIRA side, which I'll go into more detail a bit later on. So for this one, I'll say it's a bug, create. And as you can see, it actually retrieves different information from Salesforce.com to create the issue. So the subject and description comes across, but you also see the contact that gets pulled into the JIRA issue. So these are all, this one is actually a live information in Salesforce.com. So as you update the contact, the information will actually be reflected in JIRA as well. So it gives you a live portal of the production data. We put a cache in here just to help with performance. So the data may be at most a couple hours out of date, but it will increase response time quite dramatically. So we kind of put it in for that benefit. And the great thing that comes with cases in particular is that it's one of the objects in Salesforce.com which supports comments. So just to show you what I mean by that, I'll go to Salesforce.com and look at case comments and press new. Please let us know when you can get back to us.
And then it will be synced with JIRA, right?
Yeah. From the Salesforce.com to the JIRA side, it's actually one extra step. You'll have to press the push to JIRA again, and then actually choose to update the existing issues.
Oh, okay.
This is often required if you're behind a firewall because Salesforce.com cannot directly interact with JIRA. If you are not behind a firewall, this can actually be configured to happen automatically.
So I don't have to click on push to JIRA either, or I do have to push on click to JIRA but don't have the second step?
You don't have to push to JIRA. You don't have to click the push to JIRA if you are not behind a firewall.
Yeah, okay.
So if Salesforce.com can reach JIRA directly, then you don't have to push the button. You'll handle it automatically.
And what you're doing here is you're kind of transferring the info through the browser of the user, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it kind of makes a request to JIRA to pull the information from Salesforce.com.
Yeah, okay.
So if I go back into JIRA and go to the issue that was just created, here we go. You'll see that there's an extra comment that was put into Salesforce.com that appears into the JIRA issue.
Can I comment on JIRA also, and you will go back?
Yeah, sure. So that's what I'm going to do now. I can get back to you by tomorrow afternoon. And as soon as you add it, this will be pushed to Salesforce.com. So if I switch tabs, refresh, it should come up almost instantaneously. Okay, maybe not instant. Still have to wait for the page to load.
Yeah, but as always, we'll have to wait for a sync. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, the comment comes across automatically.
Yeah, okay. So everything that is written in JIRA will automatically be updated in Salesforce instantaneously. If I write a comment on Salesforce and I'm behind the firewall in JIRA, I'll have to click on a push to JIRA button, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
One great thing about it is that if you actually make a mistake, you don't have to delete it and start again. You can actually say, oh, I didn't mean tomorrow afternoon, I mean next Monday. So as you can see, in JIRA it's labeled as edited, and I've updated the contents of that comment. And if I go back to Salesforce.com, the change is reflected as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll come back to it later because it's going to take a while to load. Okay, so I think one of the questions that we got earlier was regarding the mapping. So this is kind of where I'll kind of cover a little bit of that. So I'll bring you to the administration screen to kind of see how the information goes back and forth between two systems. So if you look in administration, this is JIRA 5. So the layout may have changed a little bit. But you'll see on the plugins, there's a little section called Cloud Connectors. This is where all of the configuration for our plugin resides. So the main one that that controls the transformation of the information is in the mapping configuration. So I'll go through these sections one by one to kind of give you an overview of what they do. So starting from the top, connections. This basically says which remote systems you can share information with. So right now I have 3 systems configured: Salesforce.com, Get Satisfaction, and Zendesk. There's actually others that are available.
Actually, those 3 are all created by Customware, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Other products people could buy.
As well as UTest and Source Lab.
Yeah, okay.
We actually built a common architecture for all integration plugins that we built. So all of the interfaces that you see, all of the functionality that you see, it's not just available for Salesforce.com, but every single system that we connect to.
Yeah, perfect. Here's a question which I can answer. Is that JIRA 5 compatible? And as you said, it seems as if, right?
This is JIRA 5. I'm actually demoing on JIRA 5.
Yeah.
So it's definitely JIRA 5 compatible. And if you're using JIRA Studio, which is the JIRA On-Demand offering, it actually comes bundled with JIRA. So all you need to do is obtain a license, and it just starts working.
Okay.
Okay. Continuing on, this is the connection screen where you can actually configure which remote systems you can connect to. I think that's all we really need to say about it.
Let me just show, there's a video on our page. If you go to the link, configuration in 90 seconds. I don't know if Bo created it, but it shows you in 90 seconds how to create this connection and so on. So this could be a way to get more into detail on this page.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, and here I see the mappings already.
Yeah, the 90 seconds actually gives you enough to have a basic integration working from the moment that you install JIRA with nothing inside it to getting it communicating back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So that video, you can set up the whole plugin in 90 seconds. It'll be functional. You'll need to tailor it later on to kind of work with your business rules and your business needs. But that will get you up and running very quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on to the next one, mappings. This is where we cover how to translate the information between the two systems. So currently I have two, which is the two cases that I mentioned, or that demoed, which is cases and opportunities. So I'll show you opportunities first. As you can see, on the left-hand side, you have a JIRA outbound, and on the right-hand side, you have a JIRA inbound. So what those mean is that for outbound, it's when the JIRA issue gets updated, what information goes to Salesforce.com. And similar with inbound, when you push information from Salesforce.com into JIRA, which Salesforce.com field goes to which JIRA field. So this is quite flexible. So you can say some fields go both ways. For example, summary and name goes both ways between Salesforce and JIRA. Whereas if you look at lead source, it only goes from Salesforce.com to JIRA.
Okay.
But you cannot update it from within JIRA.
Yeah. Easy.
So yeah, we try to make this as simple as possible. So if you look at the field mappings at the bottom, it lists all of the default fields in the JIRA issue at the top, all of the custom fields at the bottom in alphabetical order. So you can map any of these fields to any of the remote fields. So in this case, the remote fields will be what's on the account, in the opportunity object. So we do not limit you in what you can do, but just be aware that if you try to map incompatible types, there may be some issues. So for example, if you try to map a date to a true or false, it won't work. So you have to take some precautions into exercising some common sense into what you think will be compatible.
Yeah, but that's okay because this is only done by an administrator once, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's go on. Mapping.
Okay, so in regards to the mapping, after you map the fields, you can actually go one step further. So and map the values. So what the value mappings allow you to do is translate values from one system to another. So let's say, I'll go back one. So the most common use case for this is in the priority field. So the priority in JIRA typically doesn't match up with the priority in other systems. Okay, bad example. Let me bring up case, which actually has a priority field. So priority and priority. Okay, so for those who are familiar with the system, the priority is actually different from the two systems. So in JIRA, I'll bring it up for you. So in the priority list, you see blocker, critical, major, minor, and trivial. Whereas if you go to Salesforce.com and go to cases, the priority is high, medium, or low. So as you can see, they don't match up. That's where this value mapping comes in. So you can actually say blocker in JIRA equals high in Salesforce.com. So you'll make that association, and when you update the JIRA issue, you'll actually update the Salesforce.com case to the priority that you want it to. So for this case, let me set blocker and major to high. And I'll just stop there for now.
Yeah, also easy. But you have to make sure that you write everything correct, right?
Yeah, that's right. So with these configurations, you have to configure very carefully to make sure that the values do match up correctly.
Mm-hmm.
However, if there are issues as part of the mapping configurations, there are actually ways of diagnosing that. So I'll jump to that for now. So here you can see diagnostics.
Hold on,
this is our transaction tracking service, which tracks every single request, both incoming and outgoing, between the two systems, and the user that triggers it.
And you can see errors there and so on.
Could you repeat that?
And you can see the errors there also? Like if I have